This is Angela with Danceable Thoughts, and this is our summer broadcast series. Listen at your leisure and let it sink in. Boy, do I have a conversation for us to have today. Very different from our normal conversations. I went on an adventure. I went to Chicago with Kim Burge. At her invitation, I attended with her this conference called Retail X. And it was the biggies like Shopify and e commerce, all these things about product displays and the way they manufacture packaging. And there was stuff about RFID technology. That's how they trace us and figure out what we like and what we don't like, and customer experience. And then there were things about mannequins, and there were things about hangers, and there were things about credit cards. I mean, it was an all-encompassing, could have been very overwhelming experience, but I had the greatest time. Chicago's a great place, never been there before. Don't know that I would go when it was cold, but it was lovely. Got to walk the Magnificent Mile, got to eat Uno's Pizza. I had a wonderful time. What I really enjoyed were the keynote speakers and some of the things that I learned from the business world and the way that they are talking about the experiences that they want to create for their customers. And I loved this phrase. I picked up on this idea that someone else used, the idea of getting your PhD right. Okay, that's not the kind that we think of in education, but a different kind of abbreviation with physical, human, and digital interactions. And I thought, I'm going to take this to our thinking dancers. I'm going to let our community think about this and discuss it, because I think we're doing a pretty good job of this already. So the P in PhD means the physical, the space in which the people are coming to interact. So I'm going to take it out of the retail world, and I'm going to think about our space, our dance space. So the physical space in which we are bringing our dancers into. It has to do with the studio space, the rehearsal spaces. I thought a lot about the way that a lot of teams are really embracing themes, or they are embracing motivational posters, because most of us teach in educational space. Are the things that we're putting up in the room also in some way educational to them? Because this is very much in the retail world. What they want to do is make physical spaces that are inviting, which we want to do for our students. They want the physical space to be easily maneuverable. People want to be able to walk and see and interact. So, of course, dance spaces, we want them to make space that's easy to walk and interact. And then talking about the physical space being very much utilitarian, in the sense that you can get the job done, but at the same time, in any kind of downtime that our dancers, our customers have, when, let's say, they zone out and they're just kind of staring at the walls or looking around the room, are they seeing things that are going to inspire their creativity? Are the things that they're seeing going to inform them in some way? So I really liked that part of it, taking it from the way they think about retail space and thinking about our educational spaces. So P in physical is physical. The H is human. Well, that's really easy. That's the connection you're making with the humans in the space. It's not just the customers, but it's in the retail world, that human are those, shall we say, customer reps, those salespeople. Well, the human in our situation is, of course, us. It's the teachers that we bring in to co-teach with us. It's our leaders, when we allow our leaders to teach and to lead and to keep the pulse of what's going on in the room. So thinking about human aspect, we as teachers are trained to understand and look for learning as it's happening. And are we seeing those light bulbs go on? Well, that's very much what they think of in the retail space. Are we seeing the customer get involved and engaged? Are they showing interest? Well, heck, that's what we do all the time as teachers. We have to be masters at reading the room. And so I really thought we were good at that already. I think it's something we're going to need to keep working on with our students. We've given our students so many responsibilities, our student leaders. We asked the social crew to keep the positive energy going. We asked the dance crew to monitor precision and technique. So it's not just about our knowledge, and not even just specifically about the way we convey our knowledge, but it has a lot to do with our ability to read the room, to see the feelings and emotions that are registering in the space and with the people in their world, the customers, with us, our team, our students. So physical space, P-H, human, and that leaves you with D, digital. Well, of course, in the retail world, the digital thing is all about, the bridge between shopping online, searching online, coming into the store, going back later when maybe the physical walls of the doors of the store are closed, but they can go digitally on. Well, I thought that was great because of what we're trying to do so much now in our classrooms, in our curriculums, is that we're trying to incorporate digital in our world. And I think that's what, if you think about a little mom and pop store and the way that they did business for years and years and years, isn't that sort of what we did for years and years and years? We came into our classroom, we had the one-room schoolhouse. Not really, but you can kind of get that visual in your mind. So we took this schoolhouse concept, and now suddenly we have to branch out. Just like the little mom and pop store suddenly has to branch out. So I was thinking about digital. And for us, I'm going to say to you that I don't want us to be interacting so much digitally always in our classroom, but how do we use digital? In very much the same way that these retailers are. You want them to reference or research products. Well, we want our students to reference and research our topics. We want them to use digital to go deeper, to understand more about what's going on in our classroom. We want them to use digital as a way to record their experiences, and that's a really big thing right now in the retail world, that they are making their physical spaces and their human connections, and they are adding to that the element of the digital world, that they want them to create Instagram worthy spaces and Instagram worthy experiences. So I want you to think about that as well, that we want our students to have a recording, or they want to not necessarily just post, but we want them to do things that are worth remembering and recording. We want to use digital to remind them that they have things that they've got to do. We want to remind them of good things that they did, and later on in the school year they might want to go back to. So digital for me is about referencing, it's about reminding, it's about recording, and for us it's also about recording their progress from the beginning of the school year to the end. So really interesting way to take a concept that they were thinking about in the retail world and bring it into our classroom. So my days in Chicago, I guess I feel like I got the beginning of my own PhD in retail. Not really. Boy, it's an amazing place, but I had a really good time. You guys might laugh, all of my Danceable Thought friends, in conversation at one of the booths in the exhibit hall. They were asking me what I did, and gosh, me be shy. Of course, I told them all about what I was doing with Danceable Thoughts and podcast and this kind of thing. The woman looked at me and she said, she was really very kind. She said, "You should be in marketing." And I said, "You know what? I was a teacher for 30 years. I specialize in convincing people who don't want to do something to do it. I'm absolutely a marketing advertiser, brand maker." And she just laughed, and we had the best time with really good interactions. So I will have more information for you about my crazy experiences at this incredible conference that had zero to do with Danceable Thoughts. But in my mind, it was something that I thought, I can bring this to you. I can bring this to our community of dancers. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about my adventures that I did. Before I end the Listen at Your Leisure podcast, though, I want to tell you a couple of really sweet things that I enjoyed over my little adventure that have nothing to do with retail and everything to do with the experiences of and the joy of being a teacher, an outgoing and energetic teacher. So that was the first thing, like I said, that when they were talking to me and they asked me about what I was doing, I said, well, I'm developing educational products for my teacher friends, and I want to branch out and make it bigger and bigger. And it was wonderful to be embraced. It was wonderful to be embraced with, gosh, teaching is such a hard profession, and congratulations on sticking with it and staying with it. So I know a lot of you, it's summertime, you're like, geez, work, work, work. Don't work all the time. Use this time to let yourself relax, let you get yourself refueled, so when you get back to school and summer drill, whatever you've got, you can reignite your passion. Because while it may not be that we are ever acknowledged in the, shall we say, financial way, we don't make lots of money as teachers, we are appreciated no matter what all the bad press you might hear about teaching. It is a wonderful profession, and it really, truly is appreciated. And that was a nice experience that I had. Secondly, nothing about the conference, but everything about being in the airport. So I had some extended time in the airport. We have to get there so early and wait for your plane, and planes are late now. I had split up from Kim. I was with Kim Burge, and then we'd split up, and I was down at my gate, and I was just hanging out, and I saw this couple. And this couple, I was sitting, there was an empty chair on either side of me, kind of that airport, everybody seems to make their boundaries. And this couple walked up, and the gentleman had on a brace from his knee to his ankle, walking with a little bit of a cane, and they were a little bit older. And I looked right up at him and said, would you guys like to sit down? And the gentleman said, oh, no, I'm not going to take your seat. Good old Southern manners. He says, no. I said, sir, I said, please sit down. I've been sitting for a while. And he looked at me and he said, you promise me you'll go find another seat? And at that moment, I said, yes, sir, of course I will. I'm scooping my stuff up. And the person to my opposite side, who had taken up a little territory with their bags and stuff, said, oh, let me move my stuff. So we ended up sitting shoulder to shoulder, 4 of us in a row. And I loved that. In that moment, suddenly all the digital went away, and we were engaged in conversation. Strangers engaged. 3 different points of view, 3 different paths, and we were engaged in conversation. When we think about our greatest gift as teachers, I think it is our ability to say, I'll take this group, and I'll take this group, or I'll take this individual, and I'll take that individual, and I will bring them together, and we will communicate. And I had a lovely about 20 minutes time. We were all giggling and laughing about different topics and sharing where we'd been and where we were headed. And it was wonderful. That's just flat out. There are no more adjectives more than it was wonderful. And I think that that's our gift as teachers. That is our gift. It is our ability to communicate and involve strangers to become friends. So I loved that experience. My last thought is what I'm heading into. You will be hearing from me, but I'm taking a little bit of a break. I'm going to be going to see Jack. Yay! I haven't seen him really much this summer because he stayed in Auburn for the summer. So I'm going to be going with Jack. We're going to be celebrating his 21st birthday, and then we're going to the beach, and we're going to have a great time. And that is the last thing that I wanted to say to you, is that when it's time to play with your whole heart. Play and have fun. Look around, open your eyes. In one of my previous podcasts, I think it was in the Thought Bubbles last week, I said, look around and see the world around you. Let this beautiful painting of the world around you absorb into your mind, so that when you need a moment of refreshed creativity, these vistas, these beautiful venues will pop back into your mind and will give you just an upcharge, an upstart, and energy to make it through the tougher days. So I really have had just such an inspired set of experiences with traveling, and I wanted to share those with you, my thinking dancers. Like I said, to recap, physical, human, and digital, get a PhD, the retail world is just kind of now figuring out what we do in the classroom all the time. So I think it's wonderful when we are validated and affirmed at what the importance of what we're doing is, and what the amazing creativity we already really just generally utilize in our classrooms on a regular basis. So pat, pat, pat on the back for us. Last little bit of an advertisement. Don't forget that I've got 2 events coming up. July 22nd at Mansfield, in Mansfield, I will have in the DFW area a director's intensive. I hope you'll join us there. And then the very next day, July 23rd, back here in Sugar Land, I will have another one. Both of these are going to be both general topics for Danceable Thoughts, some of the games, and mostly in the afternoon we'll be doing all the new stuff that I've developed about the director and the assistant directors, defining skills, defining talents, and building that most important relationship that's going to have a strong bond that will help you lead your students into the new school year. So if you're interested in any of those, of course you can find it www.danceablethoughts.com. You can find the link also on our social media. You'll be able to find that. I hope that you will be inspired to join us. It's very collaborative. We had a great time in the ones earlier in June, and we're going to have an equally great time in July. So I hope you'll take all of the time to listen at your leisure and let that sink in, so that you can think all these things through, and your students will eventually dance them out for you in the most wonderful ways. So have a great day. Have a great week.